Brilliant. Well, good evening, everybody, and thank you so much for joining us for this Funny Women and WEConnect International HERlarious session. Hannah, thank you so much for the musical intro, and we're going to hear more from Hannah at the end of the session. So thank you very much, everybody, for joining us. My name is Maggie Berry. I'm the Executive Director for WEConnect International here in Europe, and I'm delighted that you've joined us for this evening's sessions. It's a special HERlarious virtual reality, how humour can help you thrive. And I'm delighted that we're hosting this tonight with Funny Women, one of our certified WBEs here in the UK. Our host tonight is Lynne Parker. She is the founder of Funny Women. And our session this evening is going to include 2 micro workshops, one led by Jenny Bolt and one led by Rachel Creeger. And then we're going to have some final entertainment from Hannah, who you've just been hearing on the guitar, at the end of the session. To keep background noise to a minimum, we have put you all on mute. But please do use the chat functionality if you want to ask any questions. And I think as we will have some specific time for Q&A, and it might, you can probably maybe individually unmute yourselves if you can ask questions at that point. But just to keep everybody, the background noise to minimum, will be on mute most of the time unless you're presenting. We are recording, so you will be able to listen back, and we will share the recording with those who aren't able to join live. So it's just a big thank you from me to all of you for joining, and to our presenters tonight. And Lynne, I'm going to pass over to you and let you kickstart our HERlarious session. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Maggie, and thanks WeConnect. Lovely to see you. If you're not showing your face on the screen, as this is a social occasion, and I know you've all got your G&Ts and your wines and your beers there, don't be afeared. Do show yourselves. And I won't name names, but someone keeps showing us some weird stuff on the screen. So perhaps don't share your business documents or anything else unpleasant with us tonight. So welcome. Actually, this is very exciting because this, believe it or not, is Funny Women's first ever. I don't know where you're all from. I had a list earlier from Emma saying you're from all over the world. So I'm assuming that this is our first ever global event. So I'm gonna bill it as that, because I figure that's good, yeah? It's just very sad that it's taken a worldwide pandemic for us to have the opportunity to do it. But I'm trying to put a positive on a pretty difficult situation. So welcome. So as we all know, we're facing some extremely challenging times. I don't think any of us have ever experienced anything like this in our lifetimes. And as with most of our HERlarious events, which are a very specific category of something we do at Funny Women, we're really hoping that these online sessions give you a little bit of inspiration, and you get a taste of how I've been running Funny Women for 18 years. And for me, this is the combination of my previous business life and my newish found comedy life. So it's a very lovely thing to do. We were meant to have a HERlarious event this month at Twitter HQ, which sadly we couldn't do because of the COVID-19 crisis. So that's why we're all here. So hopefully you'll enjoy tonight. Maggie, and I don't know if Jill Thorpe's with us, but the request was for something very sociable and a bit different to what they've been doing. And they've been doing some fantastic stuff at WeConnect, the usual run of great webinars and huddles and what have you. And they've been very business focused. So this is a little bit more of a creative session and something to give you, to improve your well-being and give you a little bit of a boost. So what I really want you to focus on is taking your business hats off and giving way to your creativity. Because even if you don't think you're creative, absolutely everybody is creative in their own way. You know, you might be creative with numbers, you might be creative with tech or coding, or you might be a wonderful portrait artist, but everybody has their own level of creativity. And I think this is something that's going to sustain us and see us through this very difficult time. And we're looking, all of us, for some positive outcomes when this is all over. I also think, although I have probably attacked it in my own way as well, but I do think that isolation does breed inspiration. the downside of isolation is that we overthink things and we worry and we stress. But if we can kind of put that to one side and really get into the creative zone to do something very different and powerful, that will really help us. And as women, I think we might have a couple of gentlemen on here, so sorry if you are there, but as women, I do think we do have tools in our box that men don't have. I do think we have an innate female sense of humor. God knows we need it for all the things we have to deal with in life. And I do think we are very creative, and those of us who've had children or dealing with elderly parents or just in our business lives, I think women exercise their creativity in, it's not a better way, it's just a different way to men. So hopefully if there are any men on here, they might learn something tonight. That's the way I look at it. Some of us are definitely using this time to experiment and try out new ways of doing things and trying out new ways of working. But I think we also have to be aware of what one of my colleagues so brilliantly described today as lockdown fatigue. I just love that. Which she said, oh yeah, it's lockdown fatigue. It's like the new year. I said, what do you mean? She said, well, you know, when you make a resolution and then halfway through January, you've given up the diet, you've stopped dry January, and you've given up your exercise routine because, and I have to say, I really identify with that, because you start out with all these good intentions, and where are we? Nearly at the end of year 6. And no, I haven't baked any sourdough bread. And I don't do jigsaws because, like a lot of people who were already home working before this all happened, I am busier than ever. And I've got quite vocal and annoyed about it, as a few of you know. So let's forget the I love the post-Christmas guilt feeling. I think let's forget that. We are what we are. We just gotta live with it and enjoy what we can. So what we've tried to do tonight is bring you a couple of things that I think will help us. I work with the wonderful Jenny Bolt a lot. She does a lot of our workshops with us. She is a yoga teacher, expert yoga teacher, and she's an award-winning comedian. And just before lockdown, Jenny took the crown. She hasn't got a little crown like me, but she took the crown for this. I keep wanting to call it the Silver Surfer, but it's not that. It's the Silver Stand-Up Award at the Leicester Comedy Festival. And that was just so wonderful for us because we work a lot with Jenny, and she is a brilliant actor and performer and teacher and everything. Her specialization is improvisation. So, but tonight, Jenny Bolt is going to take us through some exercises to help us with that, to find our calm and boost that creative process. So I think we can unmute Jenny.
Okay.
You're unmuted, Jenny.
Thank you.
I'm going to hand over to you now.
Lovely, thank you. Well, hello everybody. As Lynne was saying, you know, our varying experiences of lockdown range from my sort of secret guilt to quite liking it sometimes, to the rage of not really being able to get anything done properly. It feels like that. And I think if you're in a household where you've also got your family there, or you share where you live, I think trying to find a moment where you can actually sit down and focus on something can be quite challenging. So what I'm going to offer you this evening is a couple of sit-down exercises to release tension around the neck and the shoulders. And then I'm going to take you through a classic yoga breathing exercise, which is alternate nasal breathing. Now, I'm not going to go on too much about the really in-depth meaning of nadis and Ida and Pingala, because you're all just going to fall asleep. So we'll do this a stage at a time. And I think we all recognize really that we do feel that, you know, our shoulders are sort of creeping up to our ears sometimes, and you suddenly have to go, oh my God, you know, what's that about? So the first thing we're going to do is just something to loosen up the shoulders. So if you want to sit, try to make sure you're sitting with your feet flat on the floor. If you've got heels on, that's fine, but don't cross your legs. That's the most important thing. So you want to be sitting nice and straight as well. So try not to be slumped. Try and sit up. And, you know, again, tension makes everyone push the chin forward. So we want to just sort of bring the chin back and to release the jaw. So I want you to bring up the heels of your hands and just massage in that hinge joint of the jaw. So I don't know, I can't see all of you, but I know you can all see me. So if I look funny, so taking it backwards and forward. And again, backwards and forwards. And then with a little bit of pressure, just draw that down. And then because, you know, we're all worried about getting older, gently rub up. Don't want to drag it down too much. Now what we're going to do now is, as you exhale, I want you to drop your chin to your chest. And when you inhale, just lift your head back up again. So we're going to be very aware of what's happening with the neck through what we do next. So if you could all interlock your fingers, as you can see I'm doing, and just be mindful at this moment which index finger you have on the top, and the fact that your fingers are on the backs of your hands, okay? So they're not going into the palms, they're on the backs of your hands. And just again, which index finger do you have on top? Then you're going to turn the palms of your hands away, straighten the arms up and lift the hands and arms up. And we're trying to feel that we're pressing the inner elbows together while we push the shoulders down. And again, turning the head side to side, not frowning, not clenching the jaw. Bring your head back to center. And as you exhale, bring the hands down. Great. And we're going to repeat that on what's called in yoga the opposite interlock. So bring your hands up. So my index finger, the left one is on top. I'm going to change it so that the backs, my fingers are still on the back of my hands, but my right index finger is on top. So it's going to feel very strange. It can almost feel like you're holding someone else's hand because it doesn't feel like it's yours. Then you turn the palms away again, lift the hands up nice and straight. Don't clench the jaw. And again, just in your own time, just making sure you're not tensing the neck. Turn your head from side to side. Come back to center and release. And once more, breathe in through your nose. And as you breathe out through your nose or mouth, just drop your chin to your chest. And as you breathe in, lift your head back up. Now, alternate nasal breathing is what it says. You're going to breathe in through your nasals alternately. And what this does, it brings the right and the left side of the brain into balance. So in yoga, they believe that we have two channels of breathing and they stimulate different parts of the brain. Simply put, right side breathing stimulates your flight and fight responses. And the left breathing stimulates rest and respite. Okay, flight and fight is the right, left and respite is the left one. And what we want to do is bring them into balance. And so through the day, we shift and change all the time. So if you've had a bit of a crazy day, or you need tomorrow morning, thinking I've really got to be sat down by this time and my head's all over the place, that little shoulder exercise followed by this, it's a fantastic thing to do. It brings your mind into balance. So I'm going to go through this, first of all, talking you through it. So just watch, and then we'll do it together. So you will put your right hand in this configuration. And then we're going to be asking you, I'm going to take my glasses off for this, to bring these two fingers to sit in the center of your forehead. This is called the Ajna Chakra, your third eye. Okay, so if everyone can join me thus far. So your hand is in this configuration, and you're going to turn it towards you, put your two fingers into the center of the forehead, the Ajna Chakra. And I want you now to press your right nostril, so it's all with the right hand, press your right thumb onto your right nostril. Just hold there for a second and release. And then you're going to just press your right ring finger onto your left nostril and release. So that's the action that you're going to want to be working with. Pressing with your thumb to the right nostril, pressing with your ring finger to the left nostril. Okay, you can all bring your hands down for a minute, and I'm going to talk you through this with my glasses on. So don't do it yet. I'm going to talk you through it once. There are two versions of this, and I'm going to give you the basic one, okay? So when you have your two fingers here, your right thumb presses on the right nostril and you close your eyes. You have a nice straight back. Don't clench the jaw. Nice and soft here. And you're going to breathe into the count of 4 through the left nostril. And you're going to close both nostrils just for a beat. And then you're going to breathe out to the count of 8 through your right nostril. And breathe in 4. You're going to hold for a beat. Breathe out through your left nostril to the count of 8. Now, if you find that it's quite difficult to hold the breathing out for 8, a little trick you can do is just slightly restrict the nostril and it will help you make that count, okay? The other thing I should have said at the very beginning, you need to make sure your nostrils are clear. So if you have a tissue by you, it might be worth blowing your nose. So we'll do one simple round together with me doing it, then we'll stop, and then I'm going to take you through 3 rounds. 3 rounds is one complete round is breathing in left, holding, breathing out right, breathing in right, holding, and breathing out left. That's 1 round. And eventually we're just going to do 3 rounds, which is 6 breaths in all, 6 counts in all. So if everyone brings their right hand up to your forehead and put your right thumb on your nostril, make sure you're sitting up straight, don't clench your jaw. And just take an out breath, just so we know we've emptied the breath. So just breathe out. You can do that through your mouth. You're going to breathe in through the left nostril. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold for a beat. Breathe out through your right nostril for 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Breathe in. 1, 2, 3, 4. And hold for a beat. Breathe out left. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's take a break there for a moment. I just want to know that if everyone feels they've got that.
If you've got any questions for Jenny, pop them in the chat box, because Jenny is on a phone, so she can't always see the chat as easily.
So I'm going to repeat that, but we're going to do 3 rounds together, okay? So sitting up nice and straight, right hand to the forehead, right thumb to the right nostril, eyes closed, and breathing in through your left nostril. So take an exhalation if you need to, and breathe in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold for a beat. Breathe out right. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Breathe in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold for a beat. Breathe out left. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Breathe in left. 2, 3, 4. And hold for a beat. Breathe out right. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Breathe in right. 2, 3, 4. Hold for a beat. Breathe out left. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Last round. Breathe in left. 4. Hold for a beat. Breathe out right. 2, 3, 6, 8. Breathe in right. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Hold for a beat and breathe out left. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And release. Bring both hands down. Place them on your thighs. Palms turned upwards. Et voila.
Lovely.
It's a very calming breath, and it can really just help you bring yourself into where you are, because I think even though we're in lockdown, we're sort of spread very thin still all over the place. So this just bring your energies in, bring your minds in, and that contact of those 2 fingers here on the Ajna Chakra, if you chose to, if you have a task to do, if you've got a call to make, you can just keep that at the forefront of your mind, that that's what you're focusing on. And you will be calmer and more efficient when you approach what you have to do. So I hope you have a go at it, and I hope you found it helpful.
Okay, does everyone feel lovely and be calmed? Yes.
Oh,
So have you got
lovely.
any specific questions for Jenny. Someone's just said,
Thank you for that comment.
that was cool. She can see the comments now, so that's good. Any other specific question?
I've got one here that says really nice, thanks. That's nice.
Jenny, just tell us, I mean, what are the worst things that we do when I know that I sit at my desk tensed up all day trying to answer emails and do Zoom calls.
Oh God, yeah.
So so is there a little tip that we can do sort of
I think one thing that I noticed that I do, and when I was teaching yoga full time, it was something that everyone said that they did, which is we immediately start to just subconsciously clench the jaw. Often when we're exercising, we clench our jaws when we should be letting it go. So just check. Do you know any web pages, good links to find more breathing exercises? Can I answer that, Lynne?
Yes, absolutely. She's not from the UK, so we need something international. Yeah.
I'm Sylvia. I'm not in the UK. Yeah. No. I mean, I would just Google. I would Google yoga pranayama. I'll have to write the word pranayama to so pranayama. You could Google yoga pranayama, which means yoga breathing. Oh, you know that word. She knows that word. Good sites to follow from would be anything that is to do with hatha yoga, because Ashtanga yoga takes the breathing in a different direction. So you need to stick with hatha yoga. Shivananda hatha yoga is my Bible. I've done all the others, but I come back to that. It's the generic of all yoga. It's where it came from. So hatha yoga, and then look up pranayama on any.
Okay, is that to do with breathing, Jenny? Is that the yoga? Is that
pranayama? Pranayama is yoga breathing. Pranayama.
We'll try and find it and put it in the stream, because I have no idea how to spell that. Perhaps somebody smart.
I'll spell it to you.
Yeah.
Should I spell it to you? I'll try and put it on the chat.
We'll put it in the chat. Okay. Are there any
and the other thing I'd say, Lynne, is just when you feel you're getting tense, just be aware of your shoulders, and you can always just give them a squeeze up and a good out breath. It can chuck out the stuff, you know. A bit like a cross or a heavy sigh. It can just chuck out the toxin, chuck out the stress.
Those of you who know Jenny from the WEConnect events, and indeed some other events that we do, we do a brilliant thing at the beginning, which we're not going to do now because we'll all scare our neighbours, but it's known as the yoga ha, and it literally is that exhalation. Oh, someone spelt it. Thank you, Emily. Pranayama. Emily's kindly put that name up. But it's the exhalation of Emily, isn't it? It's the power of the breath that it just gets rid of tension. I'm sure.
And also, if you think about what we're doing,
and we've all felt like that, haven't we, over the last 6 weeks? You know, I think we need to shout. Go on, Jenny. Go on, Jenny.
I was just going to say, because I think if you think of what a sigh does, and when we sigh, kind of that, you know. But if you take that notion, because when we sigh, we're breathing out something. We're saying, ugh. So, you know, sometimes in the mornings I will just sit and give myself a few good vocal sighs before I start the day, and then I can just breathe better and let things go. It's just I think about what my intention for the day is. That's always a good thing as well. What is my intention today?
Just one more question.
I hope that helped.
Yeah, one more question to finish, unless anyone else has got any others. But there's a lot of focus on getting up and getting on with the day. What about those of us that are having trouble sleeping? Are there any really good yoga breathing techniques that would help us go to sleep more easily?
The only one that I can suggest is, once you're in bed, laying on your back, legs straight. If you've got funny knees, you can always put a pillow under your knees. Rest your hands over your belly button, close your eyes, release that jaw, and just breathe into your belly button. Just follow the breath going all the way down and all the way out. And you can breathe in through the nose and out through your mouth, or in and out through your nose, just so you begin to calm the brain down. And there is a little mantra you can use with that, which is to say in your mind, when you breathe in, you can think the word so, And when you breathe out, think the word hum, which in Sanskrit means I am. I am all that there is, all that there was, and all that there ever shall be. That's what that mantra means. So hum, and it can help you just let go.
There's a lovely message from Harriet Kelsall on here. She says, try breathing in through your nose for 4, and then breathing out through your mouth for 5. Then each time increasing the length of the breath compared to the in-breath. Good advice. Thanks, Harriet. That's great.
Yeah, lovely. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, we're all in here for advice, so that's amazing. I would like you all to give us
great.
a little clap.
Any breathing is good.
Just a little clap. Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, lovely. Okay. Thank you very much, Jenny. Stick around because we'll have a little chat afterwards. So I'm going to now introduce you to our second wonderful facilitator of the evening, who is a wonderful woman that, again, we do lots of work with, award-winning comedian Rachel Creeger. Hopefully you've all read about her, so I'm not going to talk too much, but I think the only thing that I really feel is absolutely fascinating about Rachel is that she is the only practicing Orthodox Jewish woman on the UK comedy circuit. There is no relationship to Rachel and the woman in Unorthodox, if you've been watching that. But it's interesting because we have lots of cultures within the funny women community. And I just particularly enjoy, and I'm married to a Jewish man who is not he's not Orthodox, but we have lots of discussions, don't we, Rachel, about
we definitely do
culture and what have you. So she's going to talk to us about the pressure to perform when we're like now while I'm sitting here and with a little crown on my head. This is the pressure to perform. So Rachel, over to you.
Hello everyone, this is so lovely. It's the first time I've done like 1 million people when I can actually see them at the same time. It's so nice. Also, I was very unaware there was going to be so much maths involved in yoga, so I'm quite stressed out about that. But that was really lovely. A few weeks ago, I was asked to do a sort of Zoom talk to the Jewish community in Helsinki in Finland, because I'd been out there to speak at a conference, and they decided once lockdown and the restrictions began over there, it would be nice to create some kind of virtual community. So every other day they had different speakers who had spoken or performed at the conference, and I spoke to them for about half an hour, something like that. And at the end I said to everyone, you know, we did Q&A, and I said, like, how are you coping? How are you coping with isolation? How are you coping with the lockdown? And they all started laughing. And then one of them replied, thing is, Finnish people really antisocial, we're actually loving it. So I thought that was a very different way of coping with what we're going through. Everyone's got their own ways of coping. Things are quite difficult for everyone, but everyone's got their way of coping. I said to my 14-year-old, you know, you have to understand that you're living through what people keep describing as an unprecedented situation. And when you have your own kids and they do their exams when they're in high school, this is going to be an exam question. They're going to come home and say to you, Dad, what was it like during coronavirus? How did you cope? What was it like with your family? How was it being at home? And he's going to have to say to them, I just sat on my computer all day and ate sandwiches. So that's going to be his demonstration of creativity, I think. But what I found is that at the beginning, the first 2 or 3 weeks, it seemed there was this blossoming of creativity online. Like every moment, there's another person releasing a podcast, or creating some kind of artwork, or learning a skill, or speaking foreign languages. I can't even tell you how many people have said to me they're doing an online language school, so at the end of this they'll be able to do that. And you know, as Lynne said, there's an immense amount of baking going on. I think I'm the only person in my little circle of friends who doesn't have a sourdough starter somewhere in my kitchen. Lynne's denying that she has one, but I'm pretty sure she does. So it was incredible, and I could still listen. I was thinking that's amazing, and I was quite proud of everybody, and I was quite excited by it. And at the same time, I was completely frozen. Hopefully not in a technical way, in a very literal way, because I was quite blocked for me, my whole career came to a halt across 24 hours. There was this magical 24 hours where every email and every phone call and every text message and every WhatsApp message, every Facebook message was a cancellation. I'm currently meant to be on tour around the UK with a show. Every theatre had to pull out, and then afterwards, of course, the government cancelled gatherings, and it is what it is. And that's an experience that's actually very common. So on the one hand, we had all these people producing amazing things. On the other hand, we had all these people massively depressed because their creativity had been shut in a box. So we were all trying to find our way out of it. And what I noticed was lots of memes and lots of comments and lots of quotes all across social media. The main comment was about how during the isolation and quarantine for bubonic plague, Shakespeare wrote King Lear, Macbeth, and Antony and Cleopatra. So if you don't end this period of your life without having written plays that are going to still be talked about a few hundred years later, whether people like them or not, then we're all losers. That was the message that was very clearly coming through. And I found that actually quite disturbing because we're not all Shakespeare, and that's probably a very good thing. And actually today is Shakespeare's birthday, so it's very apt to be talking. Has anybody written anything? Maybe I'll come on to that, Lynne. But today's actually Shakespeare's birthday, so quite apt to talk about him today. And when he was born in 1564, the bubonic plague was rife. In fact, a quarter of the people in his hometown died of bubonic plague, so very bad odds. I have to say they didn't have testing and they didn't have the internet, so we don't really know how accurate those figures are. And they weren't at the time aware of the relevance of rats in this scenario, but they did realize that close proximity seemed to be a factor in people catching this disease. So what they did was close theatres, because that's where people gathered in close proximity, and also brothels. They decided to close both of those for 78 months, which I imagine was incredibly frustrating for the performing arts community in lots of ways. And during that time, of course, it was 78 months he had to write all those plays. I mean, I'm hoping this isn't 78 months because I'm going to kill everyone in my house if it is. But what I found is that we're all stuck now in our space and trying to find our own roots around and be creative. And whether you work in an office or whether you work in the creative industries, whatever it might be, then I think we're all under a new kind of pressure that we've never felt before. I think previously people have said, I'm going to take a sabbatical. And then some people have enjoyed their sabbatical and they've found it wonderful. They've traveled the world, they've seen this, they've seen that, and it's been amazing. And then some people have said, I'm going to take annual leave, and that's been brilliant. And some people have got bored during that time. But the difference is that's all been by choice. This has been kind of thrust upon us in a very unanticipated fashion. And I think that what I feel personally and what I see in my friends, regardless of what industry they work in, and even let's say my husband who's working from home behind this wall, so if it gets very loud, it's because he's doing something very important with a client, I imagine. So what I find is there's a pressure to prove your worth. So for those who are furloughed, or for those who are working from home but still working, or for those who are on that 80% payment arrangement, whatever it might be, whatever arrangement you had with your business or with your company or with the arts community or your audience, I think there's a pressure to prove your worth keeping on. So particularly if you're still in some kind of paid employment, you want to show that you're worth them keeping for as long as possible, so you don't lose your home, lose your family. These are really big world issues, and I think it's a shame to like pretend they're not massive. I think we have to allow ourselves to be upset by them when we are, frustrated by them when we are, feel down about it, as well as all the other things. We don't have to write Antony and Cleopatra today. We can maybe leave it till next week. There's still time. We need to reduce the pressure on ourselves. Like Jenny's given us some brilliant exercises which will physically reduce pressure, but we need to tell ourselves a message that we don't have to achieve everything, and to find ways of coping that are going to allow us to be creative, whether that's just at home with a new way of baking. You've seen a showstopper on Bake Off and you think you could recreate that and join a Facebook group where everyone is massively competitive about cakes. Whatever is your outlet. So for example, what I've done here, because I'm now a frustrated performer with no people to talk to, is that I've created a tribe within my road. I set up a WhatsApp group right at the beginning of this with the people in my road, and we do stuff together. So when I say together, I mean at a sensible distance. So we have one member of our WhatsApp community who every week puts another challenge out for us. So we've done a word search all about things to do with this street. We've had I think there's a crossword about different things to do with the area that we live in. I basically have become an Ibiza DJ, because on a Sunday evening, I bring out my PA system and my big speakers and I put them in the street, and we have got a Spotify playlist for our roads, and people can choose songs, and we come and dance in our front garden. So for those of us who live in a road where you can access the front of your house, that is quite fun. You do have to get agreement from everybody, because otherwise, if you know you've got a baby trying to sleep in the next house and we're all doing Dancing Queen, then you know, doesn't always go down well. But we've been doing a lot of brilliant things, and knowing that in all the houses surrounding me there's people going through the same thing, and being able to see that face to face has been really helpful for me. And it's been an amazing creative outlet, because I keep trying to think of what else we can do. They don't know this yet, but I'm going to do every Edinburgh show I've ever written for them by the end of lockdown, whether they like it or not. They're trapped in their houses, I'll be in the street with a microphone. It's all good. I think we need to really be in touch with ourselves from 2 meters away, if that's your thing, but listen to yourself and think, what do I want to be creative about? So if you have still got work to do during the day, you don't have to do it at night. Your home is not your office. I mean, even those of us who do work from home regularly, it's the hardest thing to be disciplined about, but to give yourself a space that is your space where you work. Give yourself set times, which are the times where you work, if at all possible, and then switch things off. I mean, switch off your phone before you go to bed. That's a brilliant way of not being stressed out. And then you can do your lovely yoga exercises. So I'd say find your tribe, switch off your phone. These are excellent things. And then ideas will come to you, and stuff you want to do will come to you when you're ready and open and available to listen to it. And, you know, find the way of your day working that works for you. Do you know what? I've just remembered something, probably not very appropriate, but I used to be a social worker, and I worked very long hours of very long days, and often had to do loads and loads of notes at night, and I'd come very tired, and I was really bad at discipline. But one day I realized that from the door of my office, where there was a window, there was one spot in the office where you couldn't see through the door. So if things got really, really difficult, I found it was very helpful to go and have a nap. So that was something I would do quite regularly. I would sit in that corner, close my eyes for 10 minutes. No one knew I was in my office. It was brilliant. So you could still do that. I mean, we're doing everything online now. So, of course, people only have to see what you want them to see. For example, I've done my face now. I've put one of my favourite headscarves on. I've got a necklace, lovely top, bottom half pyjamas. I've been drinking my water with this hand, and my gin with that hand. You can only show people what you think they need to see. And we've got to remember that we're seeing everybody else's highlights online, aren't we? I mean, not those, because we can't go to the hairdresser anymore, but you're seeing everybody's showreel and perfect things. You're seeing the pictures of their children painting rainbows. You're not seeing the mess on the floor. You're not hearing them scream at their kids. I love the idea that Jenny mentioned we were all still wearing our heels. I haven't worn heels since December. We are stuck, trapped in the Big Brother house or the circle, and that's a tough place to be. We aren't allowed to vote people out if they're our members of our family. That isn't how it works. And so it's really tough. My biggest anxiety, actually, something that Lynne mentioned, really, my biggest anxiety in terms of people and their creativity is that another Orthodox Jewish woman is going to decide to go into comedy. And when this finishes, I'll have lost my USP completely, which is a massive nightmare, stealing my thunder.
It'll never happen. It'll never happen, Rachel. There's only one Rachel Creeger.
And that is true, but you know.
That's fabulous, Rachel. There's a couple of quick things coming through. Just want to have a quick roundup. Just to say, a lady called Claudia, I don't know if she's there. Wave at us, Claudia. If you, oh, wave, Claudia. There's a new feature in phones, I presume all Androids and iPhones, called Digital Wellbeing. It allows you to put time caps on your phone to limit the amount of time you spend on your phone. I find this helpful during lockdown. Sounds brilliant, but in my case, it will never happen.
I mean, I think one of the things that I find useful is to try and find something in the day that's silly, that I can laugh about. And that can be really difficult if you're having a down day, and we all have down days. But there's always something ridiculous. It's a pigeon you see out of the window. It's something someone says to you. It can even be something really tactless someone says or does on your social media, whatever it is. But if you find something to laugh at, or even just to make you smile, it doesn't have to be a belly laugh. I mean, you know, every comic knows not every laugh is going to be a belly laugh. Yeah. Even just a mild raise of the corners of your mouth. But like, for example, yesterday I bought pegs for my washing line. I've been wanting pegs for years. I've never got around to buying it. And today I got so much pleasure of pegging out everybody's underwear. And I thought, well, that's clearly going to end up material.
I'm not pegging out my husband's underpants. That'll cause a controversy in the neighbourhood. Can we all give Rachel a virtual hand clap?
I'll do a Shakespearean bow.
I'm going to bring Jenny back in, and maybe Hannah on as well, because she can join in the chat now. We're just going to have a little Q&A, and then we're going to entertain ourselves into the evening and the mass clap, because I hope you all do go outside and clap. I've got a couple of...
Am I unmuted?
Yes, you are unmuted, Jenny. Is that you speaking? Yeah. Yeah. If you've got any questions...
Yes, sorry, you were really...
Okay, if you've got any questions for Rachel or Jenny or me, someone's just said, Marion's just said, lovely Marion, wave to Marion. Marion's a very inspirational woman. We've known each other a long time, but she's been doing puppet shows for little people in our family. Yeah. Zoom. That is lovely. I haven't got any little people, but my people are big and annoying, but yeah, so that's great. That's brilliant. I think, you know, that extending your creativity, even if it's one little thing a day. I did have 3 really important points which I forgot to mention, but I'll tell you and we can have a discussion. I think you need to be free to express yourself physically and mentally, even in lockdown. Sorry, somebody's really annoyingly trying to ring me. I don't know why. You know, the whole point about laughter, which I think is fairly clear, is it does boost your happy hormones, your endorphins, and you produce serotonin, and that in turn will improve your morale as well. Rachel, Jenny, anything to add to that?
Actually, thinking about the laughing thing, I can't do this for you all, but somebody sent me, I think, you know, lots of us are sharing little videos and things, and somebody sent me something which, even to think about it, makes me laugh. And I don't know how I could send it to you, Lynne, after this. See who else you can send it to.
I'm sure
it's the funniest thing ever. Yeah. So I'd just like to say that. So thank you, Rachel, for reminding us all that laughing is also a great stress releaser, and to find funny things to laugh at. I love that idea. Yeah,
well, if any of you
tickled me pink.
If any of you are on Twitter, there's a hashtag today, Shakespeare COVID quotes. So if you want something to laugh at, I've had a little go at them. It's really funny. It's people taking famous Shakespeare quotes and giving them a coronavirus twist. So if you want something to enjoy later,
pop that in the chat for people.
Yeah, pop that in the chat, Rachel.
I will do.
I have a question for Rachel, which and anyone else can comment on the chat. But I am slightly annoyed with the onslaught of instructions of how to do everything, how to present yourself on Zoom, how you're meant to, you know, I love the idea that Rachel's sitting there with her pajama bottoms on, and there is a very funny business video of about a Zoom suit, which I will also try and find to share, because that has caused much hilarity amongst my WhatsApp groups. But, you know, I don't think it matters in this day and age. Does it really matter how we look or what we look like. Surely the important thing is that we are still communicating, and this is kind of fun to do, I think. But what do you think, Rachel?
I mean, I think definitely the communicating is the big deal, and communicating the old-fashioned way with actual audible sound instead of just text message and WhatsApp is really important at this point when we just need to be in contact with people. I think you and I often WhatsApped previously, but the last couple of weeks we've chatted on the phone loads more, and it's so helpful. You can be more expressive, you can be more relaxed, you can be more yourself. But in terms of what you look like, funny enough, I've found doing my hair and doing my face a little bit and whatever for these chats actually made me feel a bit more myself, whereas spending the whole day in pajamas, I'm trying to pretend that isn't myself. But having the idea of presenting yourself in your work mode can be jeans and a t-shirt and a messy top knot, it doesn't matter. But I think do what makes you feel good. And what makes you feel good is human contact in an allowable sense, and feeling okay when you're chatting to people, whether that's where they can see you or where they can't.
I would add to that and just say find your go-to buddies. Someone else put a very good thing on here. Lynne Dickens, my whole team is on furlough and I meet with them for lunch on Tuesdays on Zoom. That's a brilliant idea. I do that with a group of friends. We have a drink spotty, as I call it, on a Friday evening. But that's important. And she said, we have creativity as our theme. Good, tick box. And every week there's a show and tell where we all show each other how to make things. Oh God, not more sourdough bread. Oh, can't bear it. But anyway, this week I posted them pieces of driftwood and a keyring loop so they can paint and make their own keyring. Where's Lynne? Wave at us, Lynne, if you can. Oh, well done, Lynne. That's absolutely brilliant. I love that. And then we got one here. Depends on what you're trying to achieve. Yeah, I agree. If it's an executive meeting, you need to look professional. Agree. At other times, I mean, I never look professional. I always look the same. So, you know, but if you're a business executive, I get it. Someone here, Harriet, has said, I'm getting annoyed by everybody talking so much about all of their free time. Yeah, read my article. Read my article about sourdough bread. You're my woman. Absolutely. I'm still working really hard to try and get my jewelry business. Feel your pain. We've had over 40 events cancelled. You know, my business as I know it is gone overnight. You know, we've got to change it all. So we get it. And that's great. Thank you for the laughs, Rachel. Right. Just seeing if there's any more questions. There was research published from the UK 2 weeks ago showing that connecting virtually makes us feel good. Back to the serotonin. That's from Marion. Thank you, Marion. I think Marion's going to be our resident expert on these. That's brilliant, and absolutely we do need to release those endorphins and happy hormones. I think on that note, because I'm a stickler for timekeeping, we need to have some happy moments. And Hannah Brackenbury, who I've also known for quite a long time, I think, but Hannah I know from the Brighton circuit, along with my colleague who I haven't even introduced, the wonderful Wave Emily Kennedy Barnes, who's Funny Women. She's our host, she's hosting this for us. But Brighton based Hannah, who's I'll get you to give us a plug at the end of your song as well, but Hannah's been doing some gigs online, but she's a wonderful musical comedy talent, and I'm very proud because she won the Best Show Award in the 2019 Funny Women Awards. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just do the advertisements now and then let Hannah sing, probably just sing us out, and we can hang around and chat and wave to each other. I might get Emily to put, when Hannah's finished, if you've got a question, we can put them in and we'll have a last little roundup. But all I'd like to say before Hannah sings is that, like a lot of us, we've really struggled. It's been a nightmare 6 weeks. I've seen my business change. I mean, we were on course for having the best year this year, but it hasn't happened. But I'm still smiling. I've got my little crown on my head, and we're doing things like this for free. But at the end of this, Emily will put up a slide with all our social media. So follow us, tweet us, tell people what we're doing. And also, if you feel so disposed, I am begging, the begging bowl is out. We would really, really love a donation if you can afford it, because it means so much to us. And we're doing these events as a sort of pay what you want donation basis. So I'm just going to leave you with that thought. And I'm going to get, and Hannah, you're doing some amazing gigs as well. And Hannah's trying to earn money, as is Rachel and everyone. So you can do, maybe just put a little, well, we'll put it on the chat while you're singing, Rachel. Not Rachel, Hannah. Okay, so will you welcome to the Zoom stage the wonderful Hannah Brackenbury.
Hello, am I muted? Am I can you hear me? That would be good. Yeah, you can hear me. Marvelous. Thank you, Lynne. Thank you for having me this evening. As Lynne said, my name's Hannah. I'm based down here in Brighton in the UK, and I'm a musical comedy performer. I was very lucky enough to win the Funny Woman Award last year for my show HERlarious, which I was supposed to be touring this year. So in the same situation as Rachel, I was supposed to be off touring at the moment. I had 20+ dates booked around the UK. Theatres, small theatres, art centres. 6 months of work all disappeared, same as Rachel, in the space of about 48 hours. So this has been really interesting, listening to ways of coping, ways of getting through, ways people are carrying on smiling. I'm doing a lot of busking from my sofa. I've been doing some buskathons online, and people have been very kind to donate money to me for taking song requests. And I've got a few more dates planned into May, so a few more things coming up. But my main way of coping, I think, has been to drink a lot of tea. And when Lynne asked me to finish the event tonight with a song, I could think of no better song than my little medley on the theme of my favourite hot beverage. When I'm feeling blue, all I have to do is make myself a brew. Then I'm not so blue. When it hits my lips, ooh, I start to shiver. Can't control the quivering inside. If you come with me, baby, you will see I make a lovely cup of tea. It's true. Anytime you want to, put the kettle on to any cup you want to, any mug at all. When you add the milk, ooh, my heart is soaring, hot brown liquid pouring through my mind. If you come with me, baby, you will see I make a lovely cup of tea. Cup of tea, ooh, ooh. Cup of tea, ooh, ooh. You won't find me drinking milkshake or Ribena. You won't find me drinking vodka or JD. You won't find me drinking crapper frappuccinos. You will find me, you'll find me drinking tea. Drinking tea, ooh, ooh. You will find me, you'll find me drinking tea. I need a copper is what I need. Hey, I need a copper is what I need. Hey, I need a copper is what I need. And if I share with you my tea bag, will you share your copper with me? Bad times are coming and my mouth is ever so dry. I'm searching everywhere for something to satisfy. I said, please, Mr. Starbucks, I don't want none of your shit, because all I ever wanted was a bucket of PG tips. Hey, hey, I need a copper is what I need. Hey, hey, I need a cuppa is what I need. Earl Grey, I need a cuppa is what I need. And if I share with you my hobnobs, will you share your cuppa with me? Thank you.
Fantastic, Hannah. And when's your next buskathon?
Sunday the 3rd of May on Facebook Live. So if you come and find me on Facebook, I'll be busking from 2 o'clock, 2 in the afternoon on Sunday the 3rd of May.
Brilliant, brilliant. Well, I hope you've all enjoyed tonight. I think it's been very enlightening. Maggie, do you want to say something?
That was brilliant, Hannah. I loved it. And a very British take on tea. Amazing. Thank you so much. And a big thank you, Jenny, and to Rachel as well for your sessions. I think we all need to remember.
Thank you, Jenny. Thank you, everybody.
Breathing, Jenny, and then all the, I think, you know, you're so right, Rachel, about all the pressure that's out there. There's just so much information coming at us at the moment, and it's just about, you know, just keep
can I interrupt? Someone's saying we should run a talent show. We're doing it for 17 years. Women Awards, ongoing at the moment. So if any of you want to test your creativity, you can do a self-tape of yourself doing stand-up comedy, or if you do stand-up comedy, send it in to us. The deadline is next week. But for those of you who really want to test your skills, there is a writing competition as well. There's a comedy writing awards. All the details, I'll stick them in here. We have a special website for the awards, which is funnywomenawards.com. So thanks for the good advice about running a talent competition. I feel like I've spent 18 years of my life doing that. So, but do enter if you want to test your skills. Other than that, if you enjoyed this, I think we'd love to do it again. Maybe, I don't know if Emma and Maggie will have us back, but and if there are any other topics to do with humour, confidence, well-being that you fit into our particular bucket, then communicate with us and let us know.
Yeah, let the Funny Women team know, definitely.
Yeah, and let WEConnect know as well, obviously.
Yeah. But no, I think there's so much to take away from this, and I mean, there's lots of stuff going on there. So thank you to the Funny Women team for helping us, putting this together, which is great, and to all of all of the performances as well. It was just fab, and a bit of light-hearted relief in the midst of all this. And as Lynn said at the beginning, we focus quite a lot on the business stuff, so this was great to do something a bit different of an evening. So thank you, and
thank you, Maggie and Jay and Emma from WEConnect. A big thanks to Jenny and Rachel and Hannah, and a big thanks to my lovely colleague Emily, without whom I can't do this, because she's much more organised than I am on the technicals, and I can focus on the presenting, which is I think really helpful. Really another thing to do. So Marion would love to collaborate. Give me a call, Marion. Lovely to see you. And I think we can give everyone a round of applause. Silent clapping, like Teal, lovely. And look us up and have a safe and wonderful weekend ahead of us.
Time to
everyone.
Thank you.